How's it going, guys? And welcome back to another relaxing ASMR video. Tonight, I am going to be playing a very chilled out and very relaxing game that is something that we have done on the channel before in some sense, and that is that tonight we're going to be playing some Solitaire. However, I'm going to be trying something a little bit different, and that is that we're going to be playing a variation of Solitaire that I stumbled upon the other day, and this variation is called Calculation Solitaire, and it's a bit more complex and a bit more difficult than regular Solitaire, but I cannot take credit for this idea. I actually, as I mentioned, stumbled upon this type of game in the ASMR community itself, so I've got to give credits to Aussie Man ASMR. Big shout out to him. I stumbled upon him playing this game and I thought it would be a nice change up for the channel to play a different variation of Solitaire tonight. So I'll pop a link to his video in the description. If you're watching this, man, thank you so much for the idea. And yeah, we'll just get straight into it. But before we do, guys, if you are new here and you enjoy what you see, then why not drop a big thumbs up and subscribe while you're at it? Because according to YouTube statistics, only about 35% of you guys watching are subscribed. So if you're not subbed, get subscribing and make sure to turn on that bell while you are at it. And one final thing before we get into tonight's video is that I want to quickly mention, if you're not familiar with Solitaire or Calculation Solitaire, we play it a lot on the channel. In fact, I actually stream some Solitaire games every Saturday for part of a series called Solitaire Saturday. I highly recommend you check some of those videos out. I'll pop a link in the description to some of my Solitaire games we've played before. But yeah, Calculation Solitaire is something that's quite new to the channel, so I figured I'd start off with a bit of an explanation on how to play this game. So what we shall do for the first game is I will give you guys a quick explanation on how to play, and then we'll kind of just give it a bit of a playthrough and see how we get on. So for Calculation Solitaire, you will require the entire deck of 52 cards, so you do not need any jokers. And you want to begin by going through your deck and taking out an ace very good. Now, we begin by setting it up like this. And we place our deck up here. Now, one thing I like about Calculation Solitaire is it's quite compact. So it's actually perfect for me to record. Perfect, 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 perfect. Now, we have our 4 core piles up the top here, our foundation piles as they call them in Solitaire. And we also have our 1, 2, 3, 4 discard piles, which currently have nothing in them, but they're imaginary piles just below each foundation. And the aim of the game is to deal all our cards in this pile to the piles in the foundations. I should probably also mention it's probably best to start by shuffling the deck, so we will do that a wee bit. Seems good. So, you begin by turning over a card from the pile on top. Now, when you turn over a card, you must either place that on top of one of the foundations or in the discard piles down below. However, there are conditions on how you can play these cards onto the foundations, and I will explain this through a little sheet of paper which I created, which was heavily inspired by Aussie Man ASMR. So, each pile has a different increment of what card must come next. The first pile, as you can see, this pile over here, we count up in +1. So the next card on top must be the value 2, or whatever comes after what's currently there. So if there's a 5 here, it must be a 6. And the aim of it is to build each pile up to a king, as you can see. So each pile will have 13 cards. So pile 2 will go up in +2. So we go 2, then we need a 4, then a 6, 8, and so on. Pile 3 counts up in +3. 3, 6, 9, queen, and then after queen it goes back to 2, like so. And then the last pile counts up in 4s, so we've got 1, 2, 3, and 4 as shown. So this pile goes 4, 8, then queen, and then back to 3 because it will go queen, king, ace, 2, 3, like so. Now with that being said, with our discard piles, we can choose if a card does not fit on top of one of these piles. We can put it in one of our 4 discard piles. However, after we place a card into a discard pile, we cannot move it to another discard pile. It must stay there. So for example, my first card is an ace. As you can see by our little sheet of paper here, there's no pile that will need an ace on top of it. So I'm going to put it down here in our first discard pile. Let's turn over our next card. Now this is a 7. We unfortunately cannot put that anywhere. We can't put it on top of the ace because the next card's a 2. We can't put it on top of the 2 because the next card is the 2, because the next card's a 4. There we need a 6, and there we need an 8. So we can either decide to put this in another discard pile, or we can stack it on top of this ace. However, we can no longer go back to that ace without then moving this 7. So we can move discard cards back up, but only if it is correct to do so. I hope that makes sense. So with that being said, let's play our first game. So I actually want to place this 7 in a second pile. And reason being, I just want to save potential more cards to play. You never know what we're gonna get. So we'll turn over the next card. We get another 7. Now, I have not played this game too much, so I'm not sure if there is a particular tactic or technique to winning. But I feel I'm gonna just stack it on top of that 7 because I don't want to have 2 7 piles. I want to try and maximize the cards that I can use. So we'll go for the next card. We've got a 10. Now this isn't great. However, the first 10 will come before any aces. So I'm going to stack it on top of my ace, which might not be the right thing to do, but we're gonna do it regardless. We've got a queen. Oh boy, things are not looking good. I'm gonna put it down here though, because if we do get an 8, we can eventually move the queen up there, sorry. So, our next card is a 4, which is finally the first card we can move. So I'm gonna pop that up there on top of the 2. Now, I've left this 2 showing a wee bit, because that just helps me remember that this pile goes up in 2s. However, we do have this little sheet right here, so it's up to you guys if you want to look here or up here. Depends how good you are at, well, mental math and calculation in your head, the name of the game. Next card, we have a 5. Now, it's a good idea to stack cards on top of cards that might come after it. So for example, later on down here we have a 5 and then a 7. However, we may need this 7 quite soon, so I'm gonna actually... What am I gonna do? I'm gonna put it on top of the 10, because I do quite like the idea of keeping one pile for putting my kings there, because if we get all our kings played, we can stack anything on top of them, really. So next up we have a 3. Now if we had a 2, this would be very good to pop it there. However, there is a... Oh no, the queen's before the 3, isn't it? Tell you what, I'm gonna stick it on top of the 5, which could be risky, but we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. So we get a 6 next, which is nice because there's two foundations we could move this to. We could either stick it on this 4, because 4 plus 2 is 6, or we stick it on this 3 and hope that we get a 9. And I quite like the idea of putting it on the 3, because if we do get a 9, we can then move this queen up. Let's see what's next. Okay, so we have an 8, which is ideal, because we can now put the 8 up on top of that 4, as you can see. Comes after that 4. 4 plus 4 is going to be 8. And see, now we can move this queen up on top of that 8, which is very nice because it clears up this extra pile here. Now, remember the rules. We cannot sadly move this 3 over here. It is blocked. which isn't great. However, what have we got next? Okay, we do have a 6, which is nice because we can put it on top of the 4. The +2 pile. Next up, we have another 7. Now again, I'm not sure if there's a tactic to this, but I'm gonna stick it back on top of all these 7s that we have. Because the 7s seem to come quite close to the end. Although there is a 7 here, but we should be good. So we have our first Jack. I'm just gonna stick it in its own wee pile. Not too sure what to do with that yet. Okay, so we have our first king. Now these cards, as you can see, come right at the end, so I'm gonna stick it in this last discard pile. And hopefully as the game goes, if we can win, it will become apparent why I've done this. So we have a 9. You can see it comes after the 6 in the +3 pile. And then after the 9, we have a queen. So if we get a queen, we can deal it up there. Now there are no cards that we are missing, so let's pick up the next card. And we have a 4. Now, if we had a 2, this would be good because we've got the 3 and then the 4 and then the 5 under the 3. So I'm going to put this on top of this Jack. And if we get a 2, we can play 2, 3, 4 and then 5. Which is a very good position to be in. However, there are only 4 2s in the deck. And one's already been used, so there's a low chance. However, we've got an 8. 8, 8, 8 is great, 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 because we can pop it on top of the 6. Pop it on top of the 6, just like that. Very nice. Now, after the 8 is a 10, because 8 plus 2 is 10. So, we don't have a 10, so we'll leave that for the time being. Next card. Another 3. Oh, we actually can put this up on top of the queen. You can see after the queen comes a 3. So let's put that up there. Very good. Very nice. Okay. Now after the 3 is a 7, which is very, very useful because, as you guys know, we've got lots of 7s on this discard pile, so let's pop one of them up. And I am remembering there's a Jack under that 4, which we might be able to get to if we can get this damn 2. If we get a 2, that would be very, very nice. We get another king, so like last time, I'm just gonna stick it on top of the 4th discard pile. Another ace. No, that's not ideal, because I need the 7, 4 and 3 to be at hand. But I'm gonna put it on top of the 7. I don't know why, but I am. Next up, we've got another queen. The Queen of Spades, and she can go nicely on top of this 9. Because we go 9, 10, Jack, Queen. Because this is our +3 pile, so we'll pop that up there. Okay, now we need a 2. this queen, so if we get a 2, we actually have 2 piles that we can put this onto, which would be very nice. And we got one. However, I am going to put this 2 on top of the first pile. And the reason I do this is because we can move the 3 up, freeing up this 5. We can put the 4 up, freeing up this lovely jack of diamonds. And we also have this 5 now available, which we can stick very nicely on top of the 4. And this is actually brilliant because we freed up another card that we can move, and that is this 10. Now this 10, can you see where it goes? That's right, just up here, on top of this 8. You guys are getting the hang of this now, just like I am. I played a few games before I recorded this to check that I can indeed win it, and I have not actually won. So if we win tonight, that would be a first for me. And there is actually a way to score and see what your final score is, but I'll explain that at the end. Alright, let's check. There's nothing we can play, is there? We don't need an ace until potentially this card here, so after a queen on this pile. So maybe I keep this ace available, or maybe this one, because there's a 7 underneath, and we might need a 7 very soon. Oh, there is something we can play. I nearly missed it. After this 7, we go 8, 9, 10, jack. And that's why I said it's lovely, because he goes just up there. And that frees up this pile right there for us. Now after the jack is a 2, so if we get another 2, up there he shall go. Okay. A 5. No, we want to put the 5 on top of the 2 that's after that queen. If you see, it goes queen 2, 5. But we've not got the 2 just yet. So I shall pop it. I will pop it right here, on top of that ace, like we said we might do. Next card is a 2. And we were hoping for a 2, weren't we? As my stomach crumbles away at me. Maybe he's happy we got a 2 as well. So, this 2 can either go on top of our queen, our +3 pile, or on top of this jack. But I'm gonna put it on top of our queen. Do you see why? That's right. The 5. It goes up there. So we need an 8, or we need a 2, or we need a queen, or a 6. Okay, let's see what we get though. We get our 3rd king. And again, just like Aussie Man did, I'm gonna put that in my only pile. Next card. We get an 8. Yes, we wanted an 8 because it can go on top of the 5. Now I really hope I don't miss something tonight, so I'm paying close attention. I always seem to miss things in regular Solitaire, so you can imagine I might miss something tonight. So after the 8, we need a jack, which we do not have as of yet. So we need a 6, a queen, a jack, or a 5. I think I might actually put this in its own pile. Yeah. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I'll put it in its own pile. Is that the right thing to do? Maybe. We'll find out. Next card. Another 2. Now, do we need a 2 this time? Yes, we do. It goes on top of the jack. We love that. We love that, don't we? So now we need 2 6s actually. So if we could get some 6s, please, deck, that would be lovely. Have we even seen one yet? Oh yeah, we've seen 2 already. So there's 2 6s left. Hiding in there. Let's find out if we get one. We don't, we get 3. So this is where it starts to get messy because we don't need to put that anywhere. However, you can see later on here, there's a 3 before that 5, if you guys can see that. And then there's an ace before that. So if we put it on top of the 5, maybe we'll get ace 3, 5, and then 7. As you can see, ace 3, 5, 7. That would be very good. Very, very good. However, we need to get a queen first. So if we get a queen, we're in business. We don't. We get a 4. And there is nowhere to put this 4 as of yet. I'm going to put it on this ace. But again, might be the wrong move. It could be the wrong move. So up next, we have a jack. And yes, we have a card that we can finally move again. This jack comes after the 8 on the +3 pile, so I'll pop that just up there. Very good. Okay, so after that jack, we need an ace, which we do have. And after that ace is a 4, which we do have. Let's go. So I'll put that ace. That lovely, lovely ace of hearts up on top of the jack. Let's neaten that up a bit, if we can. That might have to do. It's quite difficult. So, after the ace, as you can see, it's going to be a 4. Now, I would love to be able to do this without a piece of paper, but it can get quite tedious, so we're going to keep it here if that's okay. I'll put the 4 up. Then we need a 7, which we have. And then we need a 10 on that pile, and then we can complete it with a king. That would be so, so good if we could. Let's see what's next. A jack. Is there anywhere to put a jack? We don't need a jack in this pile anymore. We don't need it in that pile. After the 10 is a queen. Jack's quite late on. This is a tricky one. Maybe. Because I'm gonna need that ace. Ace 3, 5, and then 7. I'm going to risk it and put it on top of this king. Now that could be a bad move, but I'm hoping we get a queen sometime soon. We just need to hope we don't get a king, basically. Okay, we get a 10. Again, nowhere to put that, and I don't really want to put it on top of these piles. Unless we get a 6. So I'm going to put it on the highest value card. I'm going to put it on the 10. I think that's a good move, because if we get the queen, we've got queen. And we can at least play the ace and the 3. And we just need to hope we get a 6, really. That would be ideal, wouldn't it? Let's find out. we want. We don't really want a king, but we are going to pop him back on this pile. So we've got our kings with the little jack hidden in there. He's just hiding in between the kings. So back to the pile we go. A 10. The high numbers are really coming in now. However, I'm going to put it on top of that king. Or do I? No, I don't think I do. I think I put it. That's not really the best card at all, is it? I'm gonna put it on top of the king. Yeah, I just feel like it's the right thing to do. So we get a jack, which again, we don't need. So I'm gonna pop it on top of the 10 again. Probably not what we want to do. An ace. Okay, now this is fine to put on top of that ace, I believe. That's okay. I feel like that's fine. A 9. Let's take a look. So we've got 6, 7, 8, then 9. We've got 10. 9's right at the end, isn't it? Before the jack. So let's stick it on the jack because it becomes before the jack. So we go 9, then jack. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Come on, guys. Okay, a 6. Okay, things are looking good now. That's a positive. That's a plus indeed because we go 6 on top of the 2. And then we can free up that 7 again by putting the 10 on top of the 6. However, after the 10 is an ace, and that's actually perfect because we have 2 aces stacked up on top of each other, so I'm gonna take one of them and put it up there. So on top of this pile we need a 5, which we cannot get until we remove this 3. I've just realized we need a 10 for this pile as well. I think it's better to put it there though, because a 10 there is kind of wasted. Because the kings are quite far back. However, there's a 10 before that king. So that could work. That could work. Let's find out what's next. Could do with a queen, really. We get an 8. When do we need an 8? This pile, isn't it? Okay, I'm gonna put it on top of the 9. There we go. There's our lovely queen. That's just what we needed because she goes on top of the 10. Because it goes 10, jack, queen. And then it goes king, ace, as you can see. Where is it? There, queen, ace. Then it goes 2, 3. And then it goes 4, 5. And lastly it goes 6, 7. However, we really need to get a 6 and another 7 to get rid of this 8. To free up the 9 for that pile. But we've got 3 empty discard piles now, which is really, really useful. So let's see what we get. We get a 10. And as we mentioned, it can go on top of that 7. Saving our discard piles. Then we get another 7. Okay, so we need the 6 before we put the 7 up. So if we get a 6, please don't tell me there's a 6 in here, is there? I don't think so. So there's a 6 somewhere left from these 5 cards. Oh boy, let's hope we get it soon. There it is. That is perfect. We put the 6 on the +1 pile. Now then we put the 7, and then we put the 8. Now we do have a 9. And I noticed there's a jack under the 9. So it makes more sense to me to put it on that pile. So we can put up the jack. So all that's left is a king for that pile. And a king for that pile, as you can see. This pile here needs a 9, 10, jack, queen, king. Okay, that's okay. We've not got the 9 yet. And then this pile here needs a 5 and a 9. We might win, imagine. Okay, a queen. Just quite late on in that pile, so I'll put it in a discard pile. Just like so. We get a 5. That 5 can go over there. I could really do with a 9, couldn't I? And there it is, the 9 that we need. Up there, on top of that ace, the +1 pile. Because then we can put the 10. And then we can put our first king on top of. Let's put it on top of pile number 2, shall we? So that's our first complete pile. We've got a jack, which we can put on top of this 10. And then we can put this queen. Yes, this queen goes on top of the jack. And then we've got another king that we can put on top of that queen to complete the +1 pile. And then we have another king we can put on top of that 10. As you can see, 10, jack, queen, king. And I think we might have won here, guys, because this last card, if this has worked correctly, should be a 9. And it is. So we put it on top of pile 4. And we finish up by putting this king on top of the 9. And that is us. We have won. Calculation. Solitaire. You guys can check these piles through if you want. They're all correct. All correct. Correct. +3 is correct. And then +4 is correct. And I'm very surprised we actually won on the first game. So I think that's actually where I'm gonna finish up this video, guys. I really hope you all did enjoy. If you did, then be sure to drop a big thumbs up on it. Again, I want to say a huge shout out to Aussie Man ASMR for the video idea. Let me know if you guys want to see more of this, and I will catch you all in the next